Hello and good day, Mike Adcock here with the first of a series of tutorial videos on tropical cyclone reconnaissance, also known as the hurricane hunters. Meteorologists and storm enthusiasts alike like to leverage this data real-time from reconnaissance crews to kind of virtually storm chase, if you will, a tropical cyclone and get the latest wind and pressure readings as air crews fly through the storm. It's actually something I've done for about 10 years now, and it's kind of like a story unfolding in front of you. You get to see the tropical cyclone develop almost in real time with the data that comes in from these crews, and especially with some of the new gadgets and tools that are on board these aircraft, especially with the J-series models of the WC-130s. We're really learning a lot more about tropical cyclones. So want to start off with the foundation here and learn about the tropical cyclone plan of the day, and then eventually these videos will discuss the specific products and messages that the crews send out and what details you can get from those messages. So first off, we'll talk a little bit out of the National Hurricane Operations Plan. A lot of this bulletin is developed by, or initiated rather, by the Chief of Aerial Reconnaissance Coordination All Hurricanes, or the CARCA. He publishes the Tropical Cyclone Plan of the day. And what we're dealing with here is we're leveraging or balancing the reconnaissance needs against the Department of Defense and Department of Commerce resources, and from there establishing priorities. Daily during the Atlantic hurricane season, that's from June 1st through the 30th of November, there will be a tropical cyclone plan of the day published detailing those requirements and taskings. CARCA will coordinate the tropical cyclone plan of the day with the National Hurricane Center, as well as the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Air Operations Center prior to publication. And then under normal circumstances, this TC pod is disseminated by 1830 Zulu each day, including weekends and holidays. Sometimes it's a few hours early. And negative reports, that's no taskings, as well as amendments, are disseminated as required. Now you can get these bulletins, they're transmitted under WMO header NOUS 42 KNHC. Also under AWIP's header MIA REP RPD. Of course, easily you can go over to the National Hurricane Center website. It's over on the left hand side. You'll see aircraft recon. Also www.nhc.noaa.gov/recon.php. You can get the latest bulletins straight from their website. So let's talk about tasking requests first. First off, in the Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean Sea, and the Central Pacific, they're allowed up to 4 6-hourly fixes per day whenever a storm is within 500 nautical miles of landfall. That is west of 52.5 degrees west. And why that's important is once you get east of 52 west, this is out in the Central Atlantic, it takes a lot of time for the crews to fly all the way out there. You're running out of, you're spending a lot of gas, and you're cutting your mission short. So you're not really getting a whole lot of bang for your buck there. Anytime a tropical cyclone is within 500 nautical miles of the U.S. coast, and that includes Hawaii, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, any DoD installation as well as any DoD assets, then the requirement goes up to 8 3-hourly fixes per day. Additionally, any potentially landfalling storms can get up to 2 synoptic surveillance missions. As for the Eastern Pacific, those taskings are as necessary to carry out warning responsibilities. And the bottom line there is you're dealing with less land. Essentially, you're looking at a cyclone moving northward, affecting Mexico, and at that point, for warning responsibilities, a reconnaissance aircrew can be sent out if needed to help out on the warning responsibility. And this includes more than just active tropical cyclones. Investigative flights may be requested in the areas defined above, and that's a system that's starting to develop, not quite there yet, and reconnaissance crews can go out there and kind of get an idea whether or not the system has reached cyclone status yet. And of course, exceptions may be made anytime reconnaissance is essential for carrying out warning responsibilities. Based off of the 2013 National Hurricane Operations Plan, here are the aircraft at their disposal. Primarily, this is going to be the WC-130J, operated by the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron. They fly under call signs Teal 70 through 79. Also, NOAA operates the WP-3D, flying under call signs NOAA 42 and 43, also performing fixed missions. For upper-level surveillance missions, NOAA operates NOAA 49, which is a Gulfstream 4. Here lately, we do have a handful of other aircraft. NASA operates both a DC-8 as well as the RQ-4 Global Hawk. The Naval Research Laboratory has an NP-3, and then the National Science Foundation and NCAR also have a Gulfstream 5. Alright, so let's take a look at this tropical cyclone plan of the day. Here's what the bulletin looks like in its plain and simple form. And from this information, we can get an idea of what aircraft have been tasked to perform reconnaissance. It's a good idea, it kind of gives you a game plan of what missions they'll be flying. So let's go ahead and start off with the opening paragraph, and we'll go to the come up here to this line. This is our WMO header in OUS 42, the transmitting station KNHC, as well as the date time group. This was issued the 27th day at 1558 Zulu. The following line is your AWIPS header, and that is followed by the title of the bulletin. In this particular case, Weather Reconnaissance Flights. Now, this bulletin header is also used for the winter storm of the day, or weather storm plan of the day, as well as the tropical cyclone plans. This is transmitted by CARCA, National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. And the next line is your local date and time. This was issued at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time, Saturday 27th of July 2013. This following line, this is your bulletin subject. This is where you differentiate between the tropical cyclone plan of the day versus the winter storm plan of the day. Below that is the valid time of that plan, and then the tropical cyclone plan of the day number. And what they do here, it is prefixed by a 2-digit year, so in this case 13 for 2013, and then they are serially numbered from there. The first TC pod would be numbered 001, followed by 002. This happens to be the 57th plan of the 2013 calendar year. Alright, after that, then we get into the Atlantic requirements paragraph. So there, you start off with your header, and then from there we're going to prioritize our tropical cyclones based on those priorities. We'll give either the storm name, depression name, suspect name, or if there's nothing going on, this first paragraph will state negative requirements. So in this particular case, this is from Tropical Storm Dorian, as it was in the Atlantic. From there, we'll identify the first flight of the day and the call sign. So flight 1 in this case is flown by Teal 71. Alright, line alpha, that's our fix and invest time. That is when they expect to get a center fix on this particular system. In this case, they plan to get a fix at about 1730 Z, and they're trying to hit it at synoptic times near 061218 Z, trying to get it near tropical cyclone bulletin times, the advisory times. So that's what they're doing in this particular case. Line B is our mission identifier. First section there is going to be your agency plus aircraft number. So in this particular case, this aircraft is being flown by the U.S. Air Force Reserve. No tail number is available at this time, thus the XXX, but once an active system is going, those X's will be replaced by the aircraft's tail number. Next section is the mission number, cyclone number, and the basin. So in this particular case, 01 stands for the first mission into Tropical Storm Dorian. 04 is the depression number. This is the fourth depression of the Atlantic Basin. A stands for Atlantic. Sometimes you'll see E for Eastern, C for Central, and W for Western Pacific. Also going back to the depression number, if it is a cyclone, if it's not quite a cyclone yet, it's an area of invest, then it would be identified by letters. The first invest system that's tasked would be AA, followed by BB, CC, etc. Alright, for line C, going back, then the last part there is the cyclone or mission name, so in this case, Dorian. Alright, line C. That's our departure time. This is when the aircraft will go wheels up. Whether it's from main base at Keesler or MacDill, or if they forward deployed. In this particular case, the crews were ready at St. Croix. This line will say what time the air crews plan to depart. In this case, 16 Zulu. Line D kind of goes along with line A. This is the forecast position. They anticipate to be at 19.9 north, 61.4 west, near 1730 Zulu. 1730 Zulu. And then line E is the time on station. This is the time not just fixing the storm center, but also going, performing the alpha pattern, the delta pattern, whatever particular pattern they plan on flying, determining the how far the wind radii extend out from the center. And in this particular case, although they depart at 1600, they expect to be investigating Tropical Storm Dorian between 1630 and 2030. And then the last line here, F, that's our altitudes. You can get an idea of what type of a mission based on these altitudes. In this case, surface to 10,000 feet generally indicates a fixed mission. You can also see like buoy missions, which will extend up to like 24,000 feet. There are also upper level synoptic flights where they're flying up to 45,000 feet. That's when they're flying out in advance of the cyclone, dropping dropsons from high altitude, getting an idea, getting a better three-dimensional picture of the atmosphere surrounding the cyclone. And if there are any additional requirements, that will be added on to line G if needed. Alright, so learning or taking what we just learned, we'll apply it to the next section for Flight 2. Flight 2 will be flown by Teal 72. They plan for a fixed time 12 hours later at 5:30 Zulu. This will be flown by Air Force aircraft as well. This is mission number 2 into the fourth cyclone of the Atlantic Basin named Dorian. Line C tells us that they will depart at 2:30 Zulu. They're aiming for 20.4 north, 65.0 west, and they plan to be inside Dorian between 3 and 7 Zulu. And again, a fixed mission, 10,000 feet and below. Following that will be any additional storms if needed, again based on priority, and then concluding that will be an outlook for the succeeding day. In this particular case, they're going to continue those 12-hourly fixes as the system maintains its integrity. Now, the 24-hour outlook provides additional heads up for what requirements lay ahead and authorizes units with this information to pre-position aircraft to forward locations if necessary. Like I mentioned with Dorian, once this information is put into the outlook, crews from Keesler can go ahead and forward deploy out to St. Croix or some other location that would help get the aircraft closer to the cyclone, so we're reducing flight time, we're reducing fuel spent transiting to and from the storm, and increasing, again, getting more bang for our buck, spending more time in the storm rather than just flying to get there. If 24 hours isn't enough, there can be an additional day outlook included to give, again, to help authorize units pre-positioning of aircraft. And again, using Dorian as an example, flying from Keesler to St. Croix, they were given an additional day outlook so that they had 48 more hours onto the taskings list, or basically 72 hours to prepare and get to St. Croix. All right, that leads us into the second paragraph, our Pacific requirements. Now, this is going to be executed the exact same way as our Atlantic requirements. This will include any Eastern Pacific and Central Pacific taskings, Western Pacific if they happen to be doing something for that. In this particular case, there are no requirements, so paragraph or subparagraph 1, negative reconnaissance requirements, and then again for subparagraph 2, negative for the outlook. Alright, so again, this is a really good foundation, kind of gives you an outline of what to expect when it comes to tropical cyclone reconnaissance missions. It can get very busy, especially when you get a landfalling cyclone. One thing I will point out, when you go to the National Hurricane Center website, they do have a specific window, or they'll have a bulletin for today's missions that was issued yesterday, and then for tomorrow's missions issued today. And anytime they do an amendment, that can be a little trickier. So it's good to keep an eye on this, especially when you're expecting active threats, because these taskings do get changed up. It gets awfully cluttered between fixed missions, buoy drops, surveillance missions, any other crazy research missions that happen to be going on. Hopefully you learned a little something today. Again, this is hoping to be the first of a series of reconnaissance tutorials. Soon we'll be talking about decoding specific messages from the hurricane hunters. Again, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day and take care.